In this podcast, we will explore products distributed by Cotelec, a French leader in the component testing market. The sources are presentation documents from the company Test Electronics, a company specialized in the design and creation of test and measurement products for the electronics and manufacturing services sectors. For any information, please contact Cotelec engineers.
All right, let's dive into this, We've got a mountain of info on Test Electronics today. Brochures, website snippets, even some French articles raving about them. Someone out there clearly thinks they're onto something big in LED testing.
What gets me is they're not just keeping up with how LEDs are changing, they're practically predicting it. Like, think about it. LEDs used to be those little lights telling you if your VCR was on, right? Now they're in car headlights, those gigantic screens at concerts. The testing's got to be a whole other ballgame now.
Totally different league now. It's not just, is it glowing anymore, is it? So back in 2000, they started with this MEN sensor. It sounds kind of retro now.
It's a perfect example of keeping things simple but effective. You know, tiny thing, this thin end doesn't even need power, and they've got it in all these colors to match whatever LED you're testing, like a colorblind test, but for making sure your electronics don't have any faults.
Makes sense for a quick check, but their brochures mention this fin end doing in-circuit testing too. What's that even mean?
So picture testing the LEDs while they're still soldered onto the circuit board that's in circuit. No need to pull anything apart, instantly if that LED is working right there in the circuit. They even made a version that's vertical for if the LED's sticking out the side of the board.
In this podcast, we will explore products distributed by Cotelec, a French leader in the component testing market. The sources are presentation documents from the company Test Electronics, a company specialized in the design and creation of test and measurement products for the electronics and manufacturing services sectors. For any information, please contact Cotelec engineers.
Thought of everything.
That's smart. But what about when it's not just about on or off? Like, how bright is the thing? Is the color actually right? That's gotta matter for something like car taillights, right?
Oh, for sure. Getting the color perfect is crucial, especially when it comes to safety and all. That's where their smart fin comes in. This thing takes the testing up a notch. Not only does it tell you the color, but how bright that LED's shining too.
All right, break it down for me, because I doubt it's just pointing the sensor at it now.
No way. It's way more advanced than that. So this smart fin uses 4 sensors together to pick up the whole spectrum of visible light. It analyzes how long the pulses of light last, patented tech, by the way, and that tells you the intensity. That kind of precision, that's vital for industries where safety and performance are huge. Like, think car manufacturing. Headlights got to meet some super specific legal standards, and this sensor helps them nail it.
So it's more than just fancy gadgets. It's about real-world impact. But they've also got this thing called the Smart Fin Bright. Is that like a smart fin wearing sunglasses or something?
Now, that's a great way to put it. Yeah, basically. The Smart Fin Bright, that's their answer to those crazy bright LEDs they use in things like car headlights, those super-powered flashlights, even some medical equipment. It's got something built in to handle all that brightness without getting overwhelmed. Like it won't go blind from staring at the sun.
You're making sensors for their sensors. That's wild. And speaking of pushing limits, they've got this ultra fin that they claim is lightning fast. We're talking less than 10 milliseconds to test an LED. How did they get it that fast?
The ultra fin was a game changer when they launched it. Small but mighty, super precise, and it could tell the difference between something like 2,000 different shades of color between blue and red alone. But get this, Test Electronics always got to be improving, right? So they actually went and replaced the ultra fin with something even faster and more reliable. They call it the mega fin.
Whoa, wait a second. They replaced something that was already considered top of the line. Now that's staying ahead of the game. So what's this mega fin all about then?
It's not just about speed, though it is impressive. The mega fin can test most LEDs in under 3 milliseconds. Think about how much quicker that makes production, right? But the really big deal is that it can handle those new light sources, the ones that are way more complicated.
You mean the ones that pulse super fast? I bet that makes it tricky for a sensor to keep up and get an accurate reading.
You got it. The mega fin eats those rapid pulses for breakfast, no problem. So you get accurate measurements even with that tricky light. And they've even made it easier to use with a new design and updated software, so you don't get errors from like background light messing things up. Imagine they took a super fast car, made it even faster, and then they're like, let's add power steering and comfy seats too.
Okay, but we've got these crazy fast, super accurate sensors now. What happens when you need to test a whole bunch of LEDs at once? You're not sticking a sensor on each one, are you?
You're thinking like the FinTest electronics team already did. They knew that was going to be a need, and that's where their Mega Fin module comes in. This thing's a beast. It can test up to 16 LEDs at the same time.
16? No way! How does that even work?
They took their Mega Fin and put it inside this small but powerful module. Imagine a main hub with all these eyes that can reach different parts of the circuit board. But here's the real kicker. You can connect multiple modules together. So you can actually test up to 254 LEDs, all from a single USB cable. Crazy.
Wow, now that's efficient. It's like taking that color matching game we talked about and turning it into a massive tournament.
Right, and they didn't stop there either. Remember we were talking about getting those color measurements just right for when you need those super specific coordinates, the wavelength, even the color temperature? Well, they've got something called the M-entrometer.
Try saying that 3 times fast. So what's so special about this F1-entrometer? We've already covered a ton of impressive sensors.
The F1-entrometer is all about getting those super precise measurements, but for multiple LEDs at the same time. It's a plug-and-play module, so it's easy to use, and it can test anywhere from 1 to 12 LEDs at once. And just like the Mega Phenom module we talked about, you can link a bunch of them together to test a massive amount of LEDs. And you only need one connection point.
So it's like mission control for when you're serious about your LED color.
Exactly. And they made it tough, you know? It's got protection built in so the voltage won't fry it, even in those rough factory settings. They even give you different lengths and angles for the cable so you can use it anywhere.
Sounds like they're obsessed with more than just making cool gadgets. They want to make sure people actually like using them, which is smart.
It's true. And that forward thinking, it's what makes them stand out. They're not just trying to sell you something. They want to make your life easier, give you some peace of mind.
In this podcast, we will explore products distributed by Cotelec, a French leader in the component testing market. The sources are presentation documents from the company FinTest Electronics, a company specialized in the design and creation of test and measurement products for the electronics and manufacturing services sectors. For any information, please contact Cotelec engineers.
You can tell they're all about innovation, but what about customer support? Even the coolest tech is useless if you don't know how to use it.
Such a good point. And they actually talk about that a lot in their materials. They've got a whole team of engineers ready to help you out with any problems, answer questions, and make sure you're using the right sensor for the job. And the support doesn't stop after you buy it either. They offer training, they have online seminars, all kinds of stuff to help you get the most out of their products.
It's more than just customers. It's like they're building a whole community around their products. That's kind of cool, actually.
For sure. And it's not just about helping the people they already have. If you look at their careers page online, they're always looking for new talent. Seems like a company that values its people, which says a lot, you know.
We've covered their cool sensors, how dedicated they are to helping their customers, but we haven't really talked about their history much. We know they started in 2000, but who are these LED testing mastermind?
Empire. That's funny you say that because they've definitely made a name for themselves. But you know what? Our stack of papers here, they're actually pretty quiet on who actually started the whole thing. It's like their origin story is top secret or something. Makes them kind of mysterious, right?
You're right. It's like they're the Avengers of LED testing. Their company profile does mention 15 years of product development experience, though. So clearly not just messing around in their garage. They knew their stuff from the start.
Oh, absolutely. They weren't just some guys with a soldering iron, you know. They understood how making and testing electronics really works. Probably saw that as LEDs got more popular, people would need better ways to test them.
Which takes us to their whole philosophy, right?
Yeah.
You can't just fix today's problem. You got to be ready for what's next. It's like it's in their blood or something.
Totally. And they always talk about how the customer comes first. New features, new products, even whole new types of sensors, a lot of it comes from what their customers are asking for. They're listening, they're adapting, always trying to be better.
And that's how they became the big name in LED testing. It's not some niche thing anymore. They've got people working with them in Europe, Asia. Their tech is everywhere.
It's kind of mind-blowing when you think about it. From keeping our car headlights shining bright to making sure medical equipment is working right. They're quietly making our world better and safer.
Pretty amazing how one company, all about new ideas and taking care of their customers, can have such a big impact. I mean, they basically set the standard for how to test LEDs, haven't they?
They've definitely raised the bar, that's for sure. And as LEDs become even more common, you know, finding their way into everything, Affine Test Electronics will be right there, making sure those little lights keep shining the way they should.
So what have we learned today? Well, you just got a crash course on FNN test electronics and the journey to the top. From that simple FNN sensor to the mega thin module that can test hundreds of LEDs at once, they've shown that to stay ahead, you got to embrace new ideas, listen to your customers, and have that entrepreneurial spirit. But here's something to think about. What's next for LED testing? As LEDs become even more integrated into our world, what challenges will Affine Test Electronics conquer next? It's something to ponder as we wander through this increasingly brighter world.
In this podcast, we will explore products distributed by Cotelec, a French leader in the component testing market. The sources are presentation documents from the company Fin Test Electronics, a company specialized in the design and creation of test and measurement products for the electronics and manufacturing services sectors. For any information, please contact Cotelec engineers.